Mm, Hey guys, what's going on? This is CT, and it is 6:49 p.m. Eastern Time. Um, One of the things is that I wanted to get this thing out there, um, and it's that DC Comics has confirmed that Batman is an atheist. um, in all honesty, I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, in reality, I am, in reality, is that I am um, a religious person, but the thing is, like, what I'm looking at here is that, like, for me, I don't know. I don't think that it makes sense. It's not so much of a big deal, considering that, this character is, well, he's basically a fictional character and one of the most, you know, favorite characters of all time. Uh, so yeah. Um, to me, like when I looked at this, is that like it I don't know. For me, it doesn't make any sense. I know that, because like considering the amount of years, like the amount of like years that he's been around, um, some like for me, I don't know. I like it started with how it started with um how he like it started. I'm sorry. Hold on. Um, so basically, when like when I woke up and everything, sometime last week, I happened to, get a message saying that, like Batman is now an atheist. DC Comics confirms that he is. Um, Looking at the whole thing, I mean, you know, as in the whole thing with Batman throughout the decades, um, I really questioned it, because like I don't know what it is he's doing. I mean, he's probably trolling the whole thing, and I think the person that that wrote that happened to. I hate when like the person that wrote that happened to I don't know, that person probably took things out of context, so I don't really know what's going on because to say that he's an atheist after all these years, um, I don't I don't know what it is. Like to me it really doesn't make any sense. Um, he's been like, to me he was more agnostic, you know, and that's just what it is. And to me, like I wouldn't say that Batman is like religious or an atheist, because if that was the case, I probably like okay, let me start over. If Batman, if they were to say that Batman is religious and stuff like that, me as a religious person would basically take that kind of offensively, and that's just it. So I'm looking at something like that, and I mean, there are people. I mean, there are kind of, I don't know, like I've seen like atheists, they're kind of like rejoicing out of all this stuff. But the others who are atheists are kind of actually, I wouldn't say that they're offended, but I'm just saying that they don't see it. They don't see him as being an atheist. And this is like where something with someone like myself and them could basically agree on. You see, I have friends who are atheists and stuff and everything, and I mean, we don't really talk about that, but sometimes we do. And we just understand each other, like, keeping up with certain things, but it's kind of hard to say things about what happened in a character like Batman, right? It's really hard to say that he is an atheist because I mean like because like I think they're pinpointing that out of his attitude or something like that. I think that's what they're doing, but that shouldn't like explain anything about he's an atheist. You're teaming up with people with godlike powers. You're teaming up, you're teaming up with like, like like aliens and stuff like that. A person, who's born out of clay. That you met Zeus. You met, you're you're friends with a daughter of Zeus, which is Wonder Woman. And see, this is like one of those things um, that I am questioning because, I mean, you talk about all the works, like, everything, like guys with Neil Gaiman and all of them. Um, I mean, if Batman was actually an atheist and whatever, I wouldn't want to team up with people like that. I wouldn't want to team up or be in any relation. Like maybe I could be like a friend to them or something, help them out a little bit, but not like part of any groupie or something, with people with godlike powers. I wouldn't want to do that. Even Batman was once briefly a god himself and everything. So I mean, you see, this is like this is just actually one of those things where I just don't get. Um, because I'm kind of like digging back from Batman's past and everything to where we are right now, and I remember reading up something with Tom King, something with that something with to do with Catwoman and Bane and stuff like well Catwoman left him at the altar and all that stuff and whatever. I mean, um, some people are saying that but that's just writing. Let me get to that. That's just writing. The thing is, it was all a hype. People was, they were literally making a lot of money with a comic book like that. They, and everything, and people thought it was gonna happen. People thought, whatever. I don't think like Catwoman meant any harm or whatever. It's just that she had to do her part. But that's just writing, like, they get the readers into it, they get it all hyped up and everything, and next thing you know, they shut it down. And that's just how it is. That's how writing is. It's always been like that, and the thing is, it a lot of people. There were people who were shocked, and there were people who wasn't. But speaking for myself, the one thing I would have been shocked about was that the whole marriage would have went through. They would have gotten it. They would have, you know, went went forward with that, And the thing is, they didn't. They stopped it, and everything. But what's kind of stupid is that how Bruce Wayne Batman kind of like started to question his faith and everything about that and whatever, and that's for me that I don't know. Um, I'm just putting in my 2 cents in all of this to say that it just doesn't really make any sense again. I mean, I remember looking at like a video and this person had put in, with the Arkham games that Batman is an atheist and stuff. And my standpoint, I think Batman was basically trolling the whole thing. Like if anybody were to say, "Oh, you got him all figured out," then Batman's gonna be like somebody who would be like, oh, "Okay, well, no, you don't. You don't got me all figured out." Like he kind of did something like that with Alfred, anyways, and I think it was like in one of the cartoon, the animated series and everything, and you know, so yeah, and I think he's been kind of like doing that sort of thing where throughout the years, so for you to not be able to figure out who he is. Um, but for me, yeah, like like with the Arkham games, like there's one where I think he meets up with like this. I think he like saved a cop or something, like and so the cop is like well, thank God and everything, and then Batman responds like that you gotta that okay, like I would wait before thanking him, but first, answer me this, something like that. And then another one was where he meets up with Azrael, and he's talking about like God, like devil, the gates, hell, the that's burning up and ash, like something with fire in it and whatever, blazes of fire. And the thing is, like, Batman says to Azrael, I don't believe in fairy tales. Um, I, yeah, I mean, as a religious person, right, I could see why Batman would say that. I could see why that he doesn't believe in fairy tales, like, because I think what Azrael was talking about with all that thing with ashes and and blazes of flame and all that stuff. I think that's the deal. But for me, that doesn't even say that Batman is an atheist. It doesn't even say that. You know. Um. But yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on the writers and stuff. I think that's what I think it all depends on and how they see fit and whatever. But like yeah, to me, like it doesn't make any sense. I mean, they say okay, there's one of them, right, where Batman does like a response to somebody who he saved, and I think it was like a civilian or something, and um, Batman, in the Arkham games, he's all like, "Yeah, I eat these guys for breakfast." You see, that's kind of like what I'm going with, and then to go back through the comics and everything, like through all of them, basically, it doesn't make any sense to, for Batman to be a part of the Trinity to team up with, with like, like a groupie, like, yeah, like the Justice League, which, they have godlike powers. I mean, like, the one thing I could see is him team with Batman teaming up with someone like Green Arrow or something, Um, but yeah, um, it that I know an atheist. I mean, I've been in like conversations with them before and whatever. I've seen what they put down and everything, and it's like, when it comes to an atheist and stuff like that, it's basically like you're not you're like, the thing is, you want to see proof that there is a God, that there is something like that. Um, you know, so the thing is, what it is, it's kind of hard for someone like Batman to even say that, oh, I don't believe in God or any God. I mean, that that's just thing. I mean, it's not so much of a big deal, but I just wanted to get something out there to put in my 2 cents about it. That's what I wanted to do, is to say my thing. Um, but yeah, like, you know, for me, it's like, worship and belief. They're both different things. Okay. Um, though, it may like sound the same, but it really isn't. And yeah, it's that's just what it is. And and it's a good there's a good chance where Batman is all like, he's probably confusing the word, but that's just what it is. Or, I mean, he's probably like trolling everybody with the whole thing and stuff, because when you look at, back in the day with his comics and stuff, when he was a kid and stuff, he's praying and everything, and he's all like, like, yeah, he's literally, he's praying, um, and this uh revenge or something, against for what happened to like his parents and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, if I remember, it was like his uncle, like I think it was his uncle or something, and he was saying something like his uncle was telling Bruce like to don't forget his prayers, and you know, and Bruce is like, I never forget them, and he's like, okay, well that's good, and next thing you know, you see like Bruce Wayne, like he's praying to God and everything, and you know, like he's praying to God, and he's just saying something like, you know, that, oh, he's gonna, this is what he's gonna do. Um, so he wants God to like kind of like be on his side to, to get revenge on those people, and on those people, on those who took like his, the life of his parents and everything. And for me, like I thought that was like really, really good and everything. And then but the whole thing with questioning like his, his belief with that, it, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, he confirmed that, you know he confirmed that his parents, that they were religious, I think. And but I mean, I could see that, with their parents, I mean, with his parents and stuff, I could see that. But it's like, it's, when it comes to Bruce Wayne and his life, that he's going through this, this sort of thing, this phase. I think it's a phase, basically. you know um that's just it. So I mean, there's been so many times where he visits his parents' grave, uh, where he visits the area where, where he go, like literally visits the area, where his parents got shot. You know, that he wouldn't forget him. And the thing is, he has like a really, big picture with, you know his parents and stuff like that. So like that's another way of him to not forget him, where he comes from, all that stuff. But it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like where you're getting, where he says, where he says like, oh well, he becomes an atheist. It's like he wants to keep them, his parents, dead or something like that or whatever. But it's like he's met up with like spirits of his parents before. He's even met his father. Um, he's even met his father, where he's he's even he's met his father, which he's a Batman in another thing where, okay, where Bruce Wayne is dead, his mother becomes a Joker, and then whatever. So you're dealing with like, um, and I think like, to me, that was one of the most coolest stories, and everything. But I'm not, again, like for me, Batman is more agnostic. I think anyone who's religious and who's an atheist would agree with that. And I think, I think everyone that is viewing my thing is that, he's would agree with that. I think, with what I'm saying. I mean, there's been so many cases where all of that is right there, where, where like he's, where he's, where like, again, where he's a kid, he's asking for God's help to thing, and he will do anything for that, and then and he made that sort of thing like a legacy, some like a legend or something like that, in order to fight crime, to do what's right, to find a symbol, to to go to travel the world, and to say like, what is it he can learn from all of that. So that way, it's like he won't give or hope or anything like that. You know. Um. you know, it's yeah, it's like you talk like is that again, uh, and you talking to people like Superman and um and like who else? Um, I'd like to say Green Arrow. I think he was talking to Green Arrow about that. So yeah, there's been a lot of hints where things to say where something like where he wouldn't believe, but it happened in the comic book universe in the DC universe. That like things like that happen. Where Superman kind of like pretty much died against going up against Doomsday, and he found it surprising that Superman is alive and well and everything like that. You know, I mean, it's so many it's so many things to like say that that he's basically a believer, but also like you know he's like a detective. He's a scientist. He's dealing with that. Um, it's just that yeah, I just find it like really confusing to even like talk about it. I mean, I think like there like there are people like that to say that like they try to say like okay, well, Batman is an atheist. Uh, no, like it's just that I just don't get it, you know. Um, and I don't know. I can't accept it that I don't know. I can't really accept it that Batman to say that either Batman is religious or he's an atheist or whatever. I would say like he's pretty much a believer in all things because of his experiences, what he's gone through, ever since, like beyond Gotham, kind of like beyond the Justice League by going into these different worlds, all that stuff, going up against someone like Darkseid and Zeus and them and whatever. I mean, you name it. Out of all of that, and to say that, oh well, I seen them, but I don't believe in them. I don't know. That's because, honestly, I haven't I really haven't been following the rebirth issues. Oh, so yeah, but I am I do get the news, about like what's going on, um, and everything. I find some of this stuff kind of stupid in the rebirth. No offense to anybody, like who likes the rebirth. If you do, that's cool. But like I don't, I like there are people that I've talked to and who are like pretty much like hardcore comic book fans out there to say that that they like the like the like pre-rebirth stuff, that and they miss that. For me, yeah, because for me it's like what's going on in the rebirth stuff is kind of like almost like fan fiction stuff and everything. That's kind of like different from how comic books was written back in the day, and yeah, so that's just how I feel about it. I mean, the costume designs and everything, they're cool. They look so cool and everything, and I like it. But it's kind of like about the story in a way and whatever. I mean, the whole thing with Superman and all that. It's I don't know what to say about that anymore. Um, for me, it's like it's kind of like well, like what the hell happened, Um, so yeah, it's just something kind of hard to even like talk about. Um, and yeah, it's just like I don't know. I can't even. I don't know. It's not so much of a big deal, even though if he is or isn't, if he is an atheist or he is religious, like I don't think anybody in real life in this, that would like him less. And I think he's been trying to do something like that, but it's kind of hard to not like him. It's really hard to not like someone like that. Just to not like Batman and everything. To be a fan, and that's just the whole thing. But in most cases, I think everyone would agree that he would be like mostly agnostic, instead of like you know being in that sort of thing. Because if he didn't meet up with someone like Superman or Martian Manhunter or Wonder Woman or any of them, like yeah, I could see that. I would pretty much like I pretty much would consider him to like be an atheist and stuff like that. But what he's been through, what he's gone through, like things where Batman has been presumed dead and stuff like that, but he was in another timeline and everything, and he was just trying to like get back to his own timeline somehow, and he was like doing this stuff with the clues and stuff for the Justice League to even figure out. I mean, I think that was a pretty good story right there, you know. Because if Batman were to die, I think a lot of people would hate it. You know, I think a lot of people would definitely hate that. Pretty much like hate on DC Comics. For killing off a really cool character, a really cool iconic character like that. So I mean, yeah, I've known Batman, for a long time since I was a kid and everything. Like I always enjoy the stories and stuff. And one of the things is that because where DC Comics is concerned with saying that okay, well he's an atheist and stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's just somewhat. I think that's kind of like taken out of context. Um, it could be. Sometimes like you have to consider. You have to consider the like the other stuff. What's like kind of like what they're not telling you because it could go that way. It, yeah, and that's just life for you. Like you know, like how like they say that one one Christmas, like I think it was a Christmas or Christmas Eve or something, somewhere around, or it could have been like around the New Year's time, where they got Osama, um, not Osama, but Saddam Hussein, and they announced it around that time, like, that one morning and everything. I was all like, I was like one of those people that were saying they didn't get him around that time. No, they had to get him way before, and then they announced it around that time. So that's something like what I'm talking about. That it could be something like um, say that that DC Comics confirms that Batman is an atheist. It could be something like that. That people are taking things out of context a lot, and that's a thing that's been going on for like I think for like quite a years now. Because a lot of people are like writing up crap and whatever, like the like clickbait crap, and they want you, whatever it is, they want you to say that. They want you to agree with that. They want you to be like, oh, that's a real shocker or something. It could be anything. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it, there's a possibility that 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 is just like a clickbait crap of what they're saying. Because I think like a lot of people would say that he's in between that whole thing, and he just doesn't deal with it. Like to say, well, the religious side of him is like kind of like and everything. When you talk about the whole spirituality and everything like that, um, you're like, well, they will always be with you no matter what. And the atheist part is well, you don't really believe much stuff, anyways. But I mean, I think and I think you guys might agree with this stuff because it's really it really is kind of hard to talk about you know because like if I'm not coming out clear or anything, it's just that it's really it's kind of hard to like kind of like accept something like that, and I'll say, well, Batman, it'll be hard to accept that, even from a religious person like myself, from from my standpoint, it's really hard. It's hard to accept that, to say that Batman is religious, and then to say that Batman is an atheist and stuff. It's really hard, and I would agree with something that he's in between. He's just that's just what it is, because there are some things that I've seen that like when I read up on the comic books and everything, and I seen those panels and everything and whatever. That's just what it was. Like it wasn't. It's not really convincing that to say that he's an atheist, and they're saying that okay, the rebirth is supposed to combine, those type of stories where like whatever happened in like New 52 and pre-rebirth, you know, or pre-52 if you will. Um, you know, but really how comic books were back in the day. The story was really good and stuff. One of my favorite story was the Hush, Batman Hush, and kind of like also like Superman for Tomorrow and all that. Like worked what Jim Lee did. Neil Gaiman was really good. One of my one of my favorite stories was the death and return of Superman. The whole Doomsday stuff. Those arcs. Um, Also with that was really good. You know, um, Kingdom Come. Absolutely one of my favorites. Like I was like, man, this is the way how like whatever happened in that, it was kind of like how it should be and stuff. It was really good going through all of that. So yeah, I mean, it's stories like that that I really enjoy the most. I did two stuff. I don't know why they screwed up that whole ending and whatever. I think like even to this day, I think that's New 52 Superman died like one of the most stupidest deaths ever. Um, And yeah, and for me, I can't really accept that. And then like there's like Jonathan Samuel Kent, but I'm not really a fan of Jonathan Samuel Kent at all. You know, I, I read up some of the stuff. I tried reading those, those comics and everything, but yeah, again, like, where, where Superman is questioned by his son, asking him, asking him if he believes in God, and then, this other person with Batman right now, you know, Um, that I don't know. For me, I think it's stupid to answer that type of question right now. A question like that should have been answered years ago. Like, I don't know, sometime before the, you know, like your 80s and 90s people, you know, uh, I think a question like that should have been answered, back in the day when, Bob Kane was alive, pretty much. Yeah, I think like questions like that should have been answered and whatever because again it is really hard to even say and accept that to say that okay well Batman has questioned his faith and whatever after all the things he's seen and done and whatever and been around and that's really yeah, but it's just really hard. It's really hard to like just to even like get out the in my case it's really hard to get out the words when I'm trying to be as clear as possible with all of this. You know. Um yeah, so I don't know. Like that's what I'm mostly thinking is just that someone took something like that out of context and written it and stuff like that. And there are people, even like even some of the good writers to, to even post up news like that, where they would say like the things what I'm saying, and then like go back throughout the whole history of Batman and stuff like that, and say kind of like hard to even say that. It's kind of like okay, why is it now? Why is he questioning his faith right now into you know a supreme being and everything. Um, you know, it that's the thing. Um, again, like it doesn't make any sense, and um, and that's just it. So that's how I see how I see things as when it comes to someone like Batman in the first place. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of people take things out of context, and they bring out these news and they want you to believe it and everything. I saw one video saying that like this guy was playing a game and he's talking and he's all like saying that Batman's no atheist, and and everything like that and whatever. But I just couldn't stop laughing at his his response to that. Uh, yeah, so I couldn't stop laughing at his response to any of that. It's like he was saying like, okay, well, don't believe in that garbage or anything, and I mean, for me, yeah, it could definitely be like one of those clickbait craps or whatever because it's hard to even accept something like that, to say, well, Batman is an atheist, or or anything like that. So yeah. But I did look at like a lot of different things and whatever. I mean, being religious and being an atheist, they're both choices and stuff. And, that's what it is. It's kind of like there kind of really is no right or wrong. I mean, sometimes, a religious person would have certain things that's hard to even answer, and even an atheist might, you know, same thing. So sometimes, like, getting into a debate, like whether or not God exists and stuff like that, is kind of pointless. It's you know, and yeah, but I mean, this has been saying for quite a long time, but um, like people were kind of making like fun of something, like with like there's a meme and stuff, and it has two bats, and one bat is like, you know, Batman doesn't exist, and then this other bat with him is like, he calls that bat an atheist and stuff, and I find that like so funny. Um, and speaking for someone like Batman, um, like, as a believer in God and stuff, I always had belief, like, it was kind of like, for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, there's like a God in everyone, and for me, it's like, when it comes to Batman, it's like there's a everyone. You we're all we're a believer in the Batman. Things that we do in life and stuff that, like, we want to do it and stuff, that we want to initiate that and whatever, for a long time. Back in the day, everything, it's been such an inspiration, and uh, so yeah. Mm. you so yeah, anyways, like, you'll have to excuse me with, the with my mic and everything. If I'm like breaking up, you'll have to excuse me on that, because I don't know what's the deal with my mic. I might have to replace it for a new mic, that, because I've been like cutting in and out all the time, and yeah. Um, but yeah, some, again, going back to the Batman atheist thing, like, you know, there are people like all over, social media and stuff like that. They're saying stuff like, it's hard, and it's hard to like accept something like that, and with all of the experiences Batman has, you know, have witnessed. As that's just what it is. So if there's anything, um, it's just whatever. But I would continue to believe that Batman is not, an atheist, nor he's religious. He's just agnostic and stuff. I would basically continue to believe in that, instead, because I can't even accept the fact that, you know, whatever. I mean, would I like Batman any less? No. If he was either, if he was either or, no, I wouldn't. But I'd rather him, you know, be like in the middle of things, you know, and that's just it. And be in that thing, and that's it. But I think, uh, and I think that I mean, like some sort of clickbait stuff, then it's whatever. I'll consider it like water, water or something. I would consider that because like even though like I can't really myself, and there are certain fans out there, like I think half the fans out there, they can't even accept it, both religious and atheists. I don't you know they won't we won't I don't think like we would like accept something like that and stuff, because yeah, Batman is known for his trolling and stuff. Sometimes you could pick it up, sometimes you can't, and that's just what it is. So he's been doing that. And yeah, so it's it's just like, I think like this is like one of those things where I would say that fans, would be like, okay, no, this is unacceptable, and where DC Comics would have to make choices for him to think, to not be an atheist, but just be more agnostic, like making like a choice, like to say, um, because I think like to over the years that from you know the that they had like Elseworlds and all that. That's just what it is, you know. Um, please everybody, but from my usually from my standpoint, Marvel, DC, Top Cow, so on and so forth. Like it's a huge mistake for fans. It's a huge mistake to make that decisions for the company and everything about, uh, with couples, with all that stuff, and everything. Who wants this person to be with, and whatever. Who they want, like Batman to be with, what kind of girl, what Batman should be with, what kind of girl Superman should be with, and whatever. I think that's one of the things like I think that was a huge mistake. That would be like you know something like that. Um, but with talking about with someone who is believing in faith or not, or giving up that faith and stuff like that, like I think we can all like basically like get together and to talk about that sort of thing, where we would say this is like one of those things where not it's not like where this is where like fans, I think where fans would say like, okay, no, um, I'm I'm not even I'm gonna accept this or whatever because I know like um there are fans like religious fans out people who are religious who are fans of Batman. They would be like they would mostly side with him being religious or being agnostic, you know. And then same thing goes for an atheist, which is like you know they would side with him being an atheist or him being agnostic. But I never really heard of like an atheist saying that okay, well Batman's religious, or a religious person was saying, oh no, Batman's an atheist. I wouldn't hear that. But this is like one of those things where this is like one of those things where it's kind of like word in mostly in comic books that I really hate is the word retcon. You know, I and I you know I really hate that word. Those things where I'm like, man, that should be retconned or something. That's the sort of or DC Comics should confirm themselves to the fans that oh no, you guys are right. Batman is definitely he's like agnostic. He's more agnostic than being a religious believer or being a an atheist. So yeah. Anyways, that's just about it. Yeah. So that's. Anyways, yeah. So that's just about it. And like certain interferences and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm hearing that sort of thing, and it's kind of like ruining my concentration to try to speak clearly about this thing. Okay, so I just wanted to like get on my Batman tune for in this game and DCUO and to like say put in my 2 cents about what's going on with this whole thing with what DC Comics have sort of confirmed or say that they confirmed, and that's it. So, anyways, yeah, um, yeah, again, I just think, I'm not. I just think like it's something different, and yeah. So, anyways, let me let me try to cut this off right now. Okay. Um. All right. I'll see you guys later. All right.